Hello microbiologists, my name is Patton and this is my Tiny Earth project. So for a little background, the purpose of Tiny Earth is to harvest soil from our own communities and analyze its contents and analyze the contents of the bacteria that we find in the soil and see if we can find any bacteria that possess antimicrobial properties. So any bacteria that create zones of inhibition around themselves or anything like that. And later on in this video, you will see that we test these bacteria that do possess antimicrobial characteristics against bacteria that are commonly known to cause infections in the human body, including E. coli. So stick around and see how we did this.
Good morning.
Morning.
Microbiologists. We got our soil sample from the field. Right there in the ground. Absolutely wonderful. We're gonna bring it to lab tomorrow and Dr. O's gonna show some really cool stuff to do with our soil. Good morning, microbiologists. It's Tuesday, February 13th. Now we're gonna go put it on the vortex. To offer a little bit more explanation on what tasks we completed in day 2 of our Tiny Earth project, after we weighed out 1 gram of soil, we then put it into that test tube, which you guys saw, put it on the vortex, and then after we took it off the vortex, in these 2 pictures, you can see that we completed dilution pipetting. So we took 0.1 milliliter of that stock solution and put it into a 0.9 milliliter tube of saline, and that's what we call our D1 solution. And then we took 0.1 milliliters of that D1 solution, put it into D2, and then we did the same thing for D2 through D5. And then after that was completed, we plated our bacteria using the spread plating method. As far as the spread plating method goes, we took that pipette device and pipetted 0.1 milliliters of D1 onto that plate, took that glass spreader, spread it around, and then put the cap back on, flipped the plate, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then we put it in the incubator. We did the same thing for plates D2 through D5. Good morning, microbiologists.
We're on plate D2.
Today, well, we did our dilution plates the other day. Here is what they look like.
Oh my god.
Here's our second. Here is our third. I think we actually did a pretty good job. And then here is our fourth. Okay. Hey, microbiologists. We didn't have enough isolation,
Just change this one
so we have to redo it.
and change number 2 to a 3.
But that's
And
okay.
then just do.
Okay, we're gonna redo our dilution plating.
Do you have a question? So you're talking about.
Good morning, microbiologists. It's Tuesday, February 20th. We incubated our new set of dilution plates.
Okay.
And we got isolation. Okay, so this is one of them. This is dilution 3.
Yeah.
Here's our other dilution 3. It's yellow. Doesn't look like the other guys. So we're gonna definitely find out more about that. Dilution 4. And here is the other dilution 4. So we did 2 dilution 3s and 2 dilution 4s because we already had a 1 and 2 that looked good. And we wanted to increase our chances of getting isolation, which I think we did. This was a manufacturer error. That's why it looks like this. We're gonna do patch plating now. So I'm just going to pick a colony with good isolation. Get it on my toothpick. And then when I'm done with my toothpicks, they go in the discard. And I have my first little colony on there. Okay, microbiologists, we have our completed patch plate with 26 different patches. We are going to incubate it until next lab or until growth is seen. Good morning, microbiologists. It is Thursday, February 22nd. We took a look at our library that we made the lab before, and it's what we call a partial library. So part of it does have mycoides, kind of invalidating these bacteria. But the good thing is, though, that we have a possible bacteria that's kind of killing off this mycoides. We are going to make a new library with existing bacteria from this plate. This is going to be our safe library.
Got it.
Which means that all the bacteria that we put on this safe library, or library B, are going to be at least 1/4 of an inch away from the mycoides. I have my first bacteria in my safe library.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to make 3 antibiosis plates, and then put the unaffected colonies from this patch plate. So all of these guys that are more than 1/4 inch from this section onto the antibiosis plates. And hopefully we will have some bacteria that actually kind of kill off either the staph, the bacillus, or the E. coli that we're gonna first put on those antibiosis plates. So I'm going to go ahead and get our solutions ready for our antibiosis plates. Okay, I have my pipette. Going to put it into my staphylococcus. Okay. I get my saline cap off, put it in. Okay. We can see that it does have turbidity, so I don't need to add any more bacteria to that. But we're now going to do our swab plating.
Okay.
Then it shouldn't take very long to dry. And now we are going to put our colonies from our patch plate onto our swab plates. So I'm going to do E. coli first. So I'm going to take a toothpick, get part of a colony from my patch plate, open up my E. coli spread plate, put it on there, toothpick, discard, and now we have our first colony. Okay, microbiologists, we finished spread plating on the E. coli, staphylococcus, and bacillus. We put them in the incubator, and hopefully we will have good growth. Right, Maya?
Right. Of course.
Good morning, microbiologists. It is Tuesday, February 27th. We're back in lab, and we're going to look at our antibiosis plates. This is our bacillus. You can see on the bottom right here that this colony is kind of fighting off some of that bacillus. And then the same colony is doing a little bit of work here as well, fighting off that E. coli. And that same colony is doing work on our Staphylococcus plate, creating a bigger zone of inhibition right here. So this is the colony, this is the zone of inhibition. And then here is our safe plate. Looks really good. So this is the colony that's been fighting off some of those bacteria on the other plates, like the staph, the bacillus, and the E. coli. Little update for you. We are going to streak plate the bacteria that have been creating zones of inhibition on the plates. It's the same bacteria on all 3 plates. Okay, microbiologists, we are gonna streak plate bacteria 20 off of my safe library. I'm going to heat up this utensil. Okay, so it's done heating. I'm gonna wait a couple seconds so it cools off. I'm going to take part of my bacteria 26. And I got it onto my utensil. Open up my streak plate. I'm going to sterilize it. Sterilize it again. So I'm going to turn the plate and then go back into the bacteria once or twice. And then the rest of my streaks will be outside of that. Into bacteria, stay outside of it. Okay, and then for the last time, into the bacteria once, stay outside. Now I have my completed streak plate for bacteria 26. Good morning, microbiologists. Happy leap day. We got our streak plates back. This is bacteria 26. And we can see there's not a lot of individual colonies, but there is one right there that we're going to be able to use for the next patchwork library that we're going to be combining different samples of bacteria and putting them in different spots with other people. Hey microbiologists, so I didn't get the chance to show you guys in lab today, but I just wanted to show you our community all-star plate. So my bacteria 20 was placed in square D on this all-star plate, and any further all-star plates that we do make, my bacteria 20 will always be on square D so that we don't get it mixed up. And then here is a picture of the all-star plate after a couple days in the incubator. Good morning, microbiologists. It is Thursday, March 7th, and today we are going to make spread plates, one for each group, to test our community all-star plates on different types of bacteria. This is Maya and I making spread plates with bacteria E on them.
Oh, I have to do these. They're doing that. Got it?
Okay, I did the transferring over into the saline to get the same turbidity as the sample turbidity tube. Now Maya is going to spread plate. Maya finished the spread plates. They all now have bacteria E on them, and we're just waiting for the other groups to be done so we can give them out and then get what we need. Hey microbiologists, so I didn't get the chance to film in lab today how our 6 antibiosis plates looked,
So I am going to show them to you guys now. So the first plate looks like this. You can see it's creating that zone of inhibition around itself, and I have circled it so you guys can see a little bit better. I have a hard time saying the names of these bacteria, so I'm just going to put them up at the top for you guys because I don't want to mess them up. Moving on, we have our second antibiosis plate. I'm going to put the name up at the top. You guys know the drill. We can see again that bacteria 20 is producing a zone of inhibition around itself. Not as much as the first antibiosis plate, but it is still present on that second plate. Moving on, we have our third antibiosis plate, and we can see once again that bacteria 20 is doing a very nice job of creating a zone of inhibition around itself on this plate. So this is our fourth antibiosis plate. Bacteria 20 back at it again, creating that zone of inhibition around itself, showing us that it does have some kind of antimicrobial properties, which is amazing. That is what we are looking for. Moving on, we have our fifth antibiosis plate. So it is a little bit hard to see on the picture because the zone of inhibition wasn't that prominent on the plate, but it did have a littler, kind of more subtle zone of inhibition. So I've circled that for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. Last but not least, we have our sixth antibiosis plate. And once again, bacteria 20 is showing us that it does have some sort of antimicrobial properties. And this is exactly the kind of thing that we look for in Tiny Earth. And later on, when bacteria 20 gets sent to the lab up in Milwaukee, they will do further analyzing to see exactly what kind of antimicrobial properties that bacteria 20 possesses, tested against other kinds of bacteria, and they will go from there. Good morning, microbiologists. It is Tuesday, April 9th. We have all of our antibiosis plates, and now I'm going to take my winner of a microbe here, who's been doing such hard work. You see that zone of inhibition? It's getting wild. Anyways, I'm going to take a piece of it from the library and put it on a new plate. Okay, so we repatched the bacteria. Mine is up here. Hey microbiologists, I wanted to end this video by reiterating and summarizing some of the key points of my Tiny Earth project. So the main idea of the Tiny Earth project is to hopefully find, or at least attempt to find, bacteria that possess antimicrobial characteristics. The reason we need to find more antibiotics is because harmful bacteria that are commonly known to cause infection are building up resistance to the antibiotics that they're trying to be treated with. The way I attempted to find these bacteria, which you all saw in the video, was by harvesting soil from my own community, diluting it, putting it on plates, and then testing it against different kinds of bacteria to see if any of the bacteria that I found in the soil would fight off any of the bacteria that we put on the plates. And bacteria 20, as you all saw in the video, did a really nice job of creating that zone of inhibition around itself when put onto these antibiosis plates for testing. And because of this, it is going to be sent up to the lab in Milwaukee, where Tiny Earth researchers will test it further and see if it could possibly become an antibiotic one day. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you all learned something about how bacteria can possess antimicrobial properties, and how these bacteria are being used by Tiny Earth to aid in the antibiotic crisis.